Well, hello and welcome back to the show, everybody. This is episode number 204 of the All Around Growth podcast, a show that provides insight and tools to build the life and homestead of your dreams. My name is Rob Kaiser and I am your host. Today is Tuesday, October 12th, and I decided to mix it up a little bit. For the past couple of weeks, I have been recording on Sundays, and quite frankly, I have mixed it up with life in general. I've spoken a lot recently about functional medicine and functional nutrition, and over the past couple of weeks, much of my free time has been taken up with learning more about functional nutrition, reading more about foods, recipes, and revisiting some old ways in which I used to do shopping, which was through a local grocery store called Giant Eagle. And during COVID, like many other places, they had a place where members could log in online, place their orders, and then pick them up. That may have even begun before COVID. And Walmart has the ability to do so as well for certain things that Giant Eagle does not have. Certain gluten-free crackers, which I don't eat too many of, but they stock a lot of Bob's Red Mill grains and things like that. Things that I used to not eat. Not that I'm eating a lot of them now. And quite frankly, I'm not eating anything today. And that's part of the reason why I decided to record. I took the time to prepare my lunch this morning and decided sort of at the last minute that I was going to fast and participate in something that I began doing about 6 to 9 months ago. Something introduced to me by an individual on Twitter who goes by the handle Kensu the Reminder. I've done an episode on this in the past called Born Day Fasting. And with everything going on lately health-wise, I have not really participated in the Born Day Fasting. However, I made a point to journal this morning, sit down and go about my daily routine, which I've gotten away from. And the fact that I've decided to do this 10 minutes in the morning makes a big difference in my day. And I think if you were to set aside 10 minutes in your day in the morning, even 5, with something like the Best Self Journal, and get accustomed to looking at your day through that framework. Even if you work an off schedule, while the hours are listed in the day, you can simply write over it. And that's one nice thing about it, is the text is so light that and the pages aren't even lined if you're a free writer, doodler, or artist. Anyways, but as I was outlining my goals for today, in the structure and format that I used to, looking at my calendar as well, I realized that indeed today is Tuesday, and in the past I had oftentimes fasted on the day I was born. Yesterday was my birthday, and I am 44 years old, And right before my 44th birthday, I suppose, I began actively writing another chapter in this book of life. And this chapter, I feel, is something that I've reached out towards in the past. It was something that sounded interesting to me in the past, but it was always something that required too much work in the past. And I always found myself getting hung up with other projects. I always found myself getting hung up with other ideas. The next new idea. And I'm coming to believe that one of the primary reasons why so many of my good ideas don't come to fruition in the way that I wish they would, or in the way that I'd like to see them, or in the way that I'd envisioned in my mind, is because A, I've never planned, never put together a good plan, and B, I've never allowed myself to be healthy. I've never created an environment for myself to be healthy in the long game. And my mediocrity in my own health and wellness has contributed to the mediocrity in many of the projects that I have either merely thought of or actively engaged in and began, and then you name it, because most likely you've been there too. You've got those projects. I wanted to jump on and record this morning because over the past week and a half of this elimination diet, I feel better. I'm reluctant to speak much about it because it's been a short period of time, a week and a half. I understand the placebo effect. And as I'm talking about this, I'm realizing that I forgot the tea that I was wanting to drink today at home. I think I have one bag of green tea on my desk at the office, which is better than nothing, but not what I had hoped for. At any rate, I've completely lost my train of thought. Yes, I'm reluctant to talk about how I feel at this point because I understand that 10 days is a short amount of time. But one thing I'm not reluctant to talk about, excuse me, is that this thing that I've reached out to touch a couple of times before, this thing that's piqued my curiosity, my health, my wellness. What this is give me 1 second here while I get through the darn intersection on my way to the day job on the back road, because this is about the only place where I have to experience a little bit of traffic, and that's it. But what this is, my friends, is a complete lifestyle change. If we begin with something like eating keto, we begin with an increase in, an increased consumption of real foods, specifically meat. And oftentimes, we like to think about where our meat comes from if we stick on it long enough and we begin sourcing meat locally. Now, if we can level up and begin participating in farmers markets or CSAs and cook with more fresh food more often, we actively begin changing our lives in the way in which we go through the process of food acquisition. We can begin taking that further and further, if we wish, by either growing food ourselves or creating ways, or facilitating environments in which food is grown in conjunction with others or produced in conjunction with others. But at the end of the day, all of this is largely dependent on your goals and largely dependent on your health. And for me, my goals being largely dependent on my health, and my health being largely dependent on my lifestyle, I've realized that over the past certainly 10 years of realizing that I want to make an active change in my life, but really my entire life, of wanting something different, constantly being unsatisfied with my current status quo. As I go through the process of writing my autobiography, one thing that I've gotten back to over the last couple of weeks of going dark, spending time on things that are important to me. Not that this podcast is not, but there are only so many hours in the day, my friends, and we have to prioritize certain things, and we also have to be kind and gracious with ourselves when we understand, or when we observe that we're not getting all the things done that we want to get done. But then, if we find ourselves doing that, we also have to ask the question why, and understand what we need to do in order to do the things that we want to do differently, which is oftentimes make big change. It's possible, you can do it, you just got to commit to it and actually make change. Oftentimes we take something away, but if we don't actively put something in its place, we've got an empty void that's filled, or oftentimes gets filled, with something that we don't want. It's kind of like a company culture. If you don't actively create one, one will be created for you. Well, guys, that's all I've got for just kind of freestyling it off the cuff today. Been feeling good. Wanted to share a little progress update with you about the whole experience of functional medicine, functional nutrition, and where we're at. Things are good. I am week 2, or I am into week 2 rather. I'm feeling kind of excited about where I'm at and to take it to the next level, so to speak. I decided to fast completely today on my born day after my birthday yesterday. So, pardon that noise, pardon the mud flap. Guys, I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you tuning in. I hope that you have a great day this Tuesday, and I hope that you have a great rest of the week. I'll see you on the next podcast, whenever that may be. And as always, do check out the All Around Growth community on Telegram at t.me/allaroundgrowth, or if you've already got the Telegram app on your phone, you can just search for us at All Around Growth. Great way to connect with myself and other audience members who are on the same path. So check us out. Love to chat with you there. And as always, this is Rob Kaiser, and thank you.